I find that there are still quite a few people who are suspicious about higher education, in some cases hostile. And I've got to admit, as an academic myself, there are some good reasons for this. For one thing, much of higher education is opposed to a robust, biblically grounded faith. So it's natural there's some suspicion on both sides because uneducated believers kind of are wondering, can you really be a true believer and have an advanced degree? And, on the sad side, I've known several folks who pursued advanced education, and during that process, they walked away from the Lord. They weren't grounded in their faith, and they started asking questions and not getting answers, not pursuing it through the point of answers. So they walked away from the Lord. So that leads people to say, well, see, I told you, it's not a good activity. And on the less toxic side, but still bad, I have to admit, as an academic, I've seen a fair number of academics that if they're not proud, they come across as proud. That they have degrees, they have education that other people don't have, and so that makes them better. Now, of course, they neglect the fact that education doesn't make them wiser or smarter, but that's another issue. And sadly, even folks that have stayed with the Lord in their education, I'm discouraged that many academics don't give much evidence of a fervency of their faith. How many Christian professors do you know who are really known for their passionate zeal for Jesus, or for their intercessory prayer for the lost, or for their vibrant witness to Christ in a hostile academic environment? So there's not a lot of evidence. Now, the part of the world that we're sitting in here in Central and Eastern Europe, sadly, for many decades under communism, Christians were shut out of the educational process. Higher education was forbidden for them. And so an interesting thing happened over the years then. The church kind of developed an antibody and say, well, we're shut out of education. We don't need education to serve the Lord. And it developed into kind of a anti-intellectual stance. But you can understand kind of sociologically, because most of the educated people, the more cultured people, were either killed by the regime or sent to the gulag, and the church was definitely shut out of the educational process. So I think there are some valid reasons why people are cautious about higher education. But I think what we need to understand is that education in and of itself is not the danger. That's not what drew people away from the Lord. So I'm trying to encourage churches to embrace the importance of higher education.